Greenfield gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scot, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore, longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, Daily Times sports reporter Caleb Giroux, and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli. And this is the GoTeez Sportspage. The college football playoff bracket is set, and we're going till the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will report on the latest high school basketball scores involving Blount County high school teams, and we'll follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons and Caleb Giroux will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Marcus will present his feature Mark It Down and the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segments. Alcoa State Football Championship will be in the discussion. Our panel will talk some UT football and basketball, and we'll preview today's traditional Army-Navy football game. We'll set the stage for today's Heisman Trophy announcement and talk about one of the greatest stories in the history of college football, the Indiana Hoosiers' rise to #1 in the nation. The Let Her Rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning, everybody, on a brisk and cold Saturday morning, but not near as cold as it's going to be here tomorrow. And we've got the Christmas parade coming by the window on the world here after a while, so we're all opened up to that. Big day, Tony.
I like the introduction because you go around, give everyone real nice introduction, and then you finish up, and Tony.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man,
Yeah.
I'm really, but I appreciate it. It's going to be. This time yesterday, I was down in Florida recruiting.
Yeah.
So I had a
well,
real
this
busy.
weather's probably pretty hard on you right now, isn't it?
Oh,
Huh?
yeah, coming from Florida.
You just got to go down your resume every week.
Yeah.
All the coaching stops and all the awards.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I went to that IMG Academy, and
Yeah.
boy, I tell you what,
That could rival some
they
colleges.
got 39 soccer fields at that
Wow.
place. I mean, unbelievable.
Marcus, you're all dressed for the occasion with your hat back there. You look good.
He's
You
ready
look
for the
right.
Christmas parade.
He really is.
He's ready for the parade.
No, you're
No, I
not.
don't have-
Unless you're on two, so okay.
There we go, there it is.
All right, we got it.
Yeah, I see how it is. Donnie keeps me offline when he doesn't want me to hear what I'm saying. I'm ready for the parade. I came with the hat. I'm all ready. I'm excited because I saw the Daily Times van last night when they got finished with it. And it's got lights on it, and they got it all cleaned up. It's the only time all year long that white van looks white. So I'm very happy and ready for today.
It's clean.
You know, I love this week of the year. They cleaned the van. We put together the Rewind football tab that's coming out next week. We have to get that done this week. And, you know, as long as I've been at the Daily Times, we're always doing that after a state championship game. So,
Yeah.
you know, I've only been there 21 years.
Yeah.
So,
Well, guys, I got a Let Her Rip segment this morning. I'm going to talk about the college football playoff bracket, which has been in the discussion most of this week.
Yes, it has.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about it here this morning. This past Sunday, I watched the college football playoff bracket show with a lot of interest, as most college football fans did across the country, because chaos had reared its ugly head. Duke beat Virginia to claim the ACC title. Oh, what's going to happen here? Will the ACC be left out? Alabama was completely annihilated by Georgia and looked anything but a playoff team. BYU was destroyed by Texas Tech for the second time this season. The door suddenly looked open to the worst nightmare of all. 2 D5 teams would make the field according to the rules and guidelines that were set by the CFP committee. The chaos resulting in the heated discussion zeroed in on Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. 2 of the 3 would make the field. Those 2 were Alabama and Miami. Depending on what part of the country you lived in, the pros and cons on the decision were argued until all parties were red in the face. So this past week, I really did the research on all the parties.
Okay.
And I've kind of written this down here. When I use the word we, it doesn't mean us on this show at this time. It means we according to the faithful of those places. And you guys can add to any of this if you want to, but we're going to talk about it after it's over with. The Bama faithful, pros, we played the toughest schedule. We played and beat Georgia on the Bulldogs field. We lost the conference championship game, but we should not be penalized because we got there. We had players hurt in the championship game. Cons, lost to Florida. He had 3 losses and shouldn't play for a national championship. You aren't playing well at all. Struggled against Auburn, lost to Georgia decisively, struggled against other teams the last month of the season. Committee favored SEC to get their 5 teams in. Politics. Miami faithful. We beat Notre Dame head-to-head. We're playing our best football right now. We got left out last year. They owed us. The ACC deserved to have a team in the playoffs, and that be us. Cons. You didn't even win the weakest conference in the Power Four and didn't even make the championship game. You lost to Louisville and SMU. You weren't in the top 10 of any of the CFP rankings leading up to Selection Sunday. Your strength of schedule left much to be desired. The Notre Dame faithful. Pros. We're playing our best football season now. After loss to Miami and Texas A&M, we have beaten opponents by 30-plus points on the average. We've ranked in the top 10 in every CFP rankings leading up to Selection Sunday. At one point in the season, we were 6-2, and Miami was 6-2 with similar schedules remaining, and Miami stayed behind us until Selection Sunday. It was all fixed. Alabama was moved ahead of us after the last game of the season for no apparent reason. The committee was just trying to avoid keeping the Tide out of the playoffs was the real reason. The committee said championship games should not affect rankings, but when BYU lost, they dropped behind Miami, while Alabama held their spot in the rankings. We would be favored over 10 teams if you went to DraftKings and picked the teams that would win the playoff games. Cons, you don't play anybody. You lost head-to-head to Miami. You don't play in a conference. No championship game. You've always been favored by the polls. Unfair. Power 4 conferences just plain don't like us. There you have it. I don't know if I've left anything out, but, Tony, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Because this is a complicated deal that this
Tony,
committee has
Tony,
left the country with.
I'll-
So what went wrong? What went wrong? Let's talk about Miami. First of all, let's talk about Miami and Alabama and Notre Dame. What went wrong, or did anything go wrong?
Well, first of all, let me say we got the Holy Pope upset. All right. Notre Dame. So, I've got to be careful being a good Catholic boy of what I say and all that.
Yes, because Christmas is coming.
That's right. So, so I definitely need the Pope on my side.
Yeah.
What happens is that you got people saying things that says, hey, we're going to follow this method. All right. But then it changes along the way. Notre Dame, first of all, Notre Dame not being a conference hurts because, they're independent. But, they should be with the ACC, and that's the ACC's fault by keep bringing in all the teams into the ACC and say, all right, Notre Dame, you don't have to bring football in, but we'll take the rest of your teams.
Yeah.
So, that's problem number one. And I do agree that, they stated saying, well, if you play in a conference championship, that shouldn't penalize you. But that sure penalized BYU, the way they lost. And so the rules, the guidelines, they change it all the time. And it's nothing one set. And now they're saying, well, maybe we need to expand to 16 teams, in the future so we wouldn't have this problem. No, because now they're going to be arguing about number 16, 17, 18, just like we did a couple of years ago. We were arguing about 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Maybe.
so go ahead. Your turn.
Caleb.
Yeah, so I learned that the way the committee picks the teams is they do it by pools. So they go like 1 through 4 and then rank those. Then they go like 4 through 8 and rank those.
Huh.
And so apparently all year, Notre Dame and Miami haven't been close. So they haven't been in the same pool, which means Notre Dame's always been ahead of Miami. And then in the last bracket, Miami and Notre Dame are close enough to where head-to-head mattered, and that's why Miami got out in front.
Yeah.
But, again, it's a redundant way to do it if you're going to rank the teams every week. Just don't rank the teams every week. Or if you're going to pick –
If that's the case and they're in pods, then I would assume that Alabama and Notre Dame would be in the same pod. So why did they move Alabama ahead of Notre Dame when in the previous 4 rankings they were not?
Your guess is as good as mine.
The week
That's why you
before
either
the
need
select-
problem. That's
I
the
mean,
problem.
I'm not saying I understand what you're saying right there, But all of a sudden, when they moved Alabama in front of Notre Dame, then all this discussion started on ESPN with Herb, I call him SEC Street, and
Yep.
Satan, I call
Satan.
Satan Saban. Saban.
Yeah, we understand the direction
and then the
that's going.
commissioner of the SEC, Stinky. They all, it just seemed like there was all this talk about Miami and Notre Dame all of a sudden, and Alabama was not playing very well and lost, barely beat Auburn, and all of a sudden they're just left out of the discussion altogether, and it just looked like it was a setup to where they were planning that if it worked out this way, then they had an out with a head-to-head.
I don't think.
That's just
you can't rank the teams every week. And then they put the commissioner up there or the head of the committee, who's the Arkansas athletic director. There's your another SEC tie-in. And some of the things he said make absolutely no sense. He said that in Vanderbilt's case, which you didn't even mention, Vanderbilt got knocked because when they beat Tennessee, Tennessee fell out of the rankings. Well, Tennessee fell out of the rankings because Vanderbilt beat them. Why are you knocking them for that?
Exactly.
And then they would ask him other stuff, and he just it's clear.
No,
there's no understanding of what's happening.
I'm only to the second guy on the show, and I'm already thinking it's a clown show before we even get to Marcus, and I'm really interested in what he's got to say. Marcus, last week you're in a different spot this week, so I know you got a different opinion. But last week you were just you had it called. You had the inside track, and you were saying Alabama's in. They're in. No matter what. Now, they played in their championship game, and they got beat 28-7. Do you still feel the same way? And, to boot, they barely beat Auburn, and they didn't play well the last part of the season.
So, you got to give me full credit, Mike. Yes, I said
giving
Alabama.
You called it.
I said Alabama was in. I also said Duke was going to win the ACC championship game.
Okay.
So, because I prefer chaos.
And you got it.
You got it.
So –
You got enough of that.
Here's the way I view it. Do we have the best 8 teams, not 12, but the best 8 teams in the country playing? Yes. With the best 8 teams are all in there. So does that mean that there was somebody who might get hot in those spots 9 through 16 or 20 that could win it? Yeah, there could, but it's not as likely. My problem is the process of how we got here, how we got these 12 teams that we've got. And Tony and Caleb, even you have hit on them. There are problems in the process.
Correct.
And I think that I enjoyed watching it melt down and some of the explanations and the reaction because it's going to fix problems that have been there from the start. Mm-hmm. And we can start addressing what really needs to happen if you really want to get the best 12 or best 16. How do you do that? Well, we're going to have to change the conference championship game into something else. So I've always been the advocate. Last week I was talking about maybe you have your 3 and 4s playing on a play-in game. But you can make it 16 if you go on the philosophy that if you're going to be the best, if you're going to be the champion, you got to be able to beat anybody. Then let 1 and 2 play and make it a playing game. You win the championship game you're in, you lose, you're out, and you can say it's a 16-team field.
Yeah, I kind of think that what they should do is make the selection before the championship games. If that's not going to,
the problem is you can't have the championship games affect the seeding.
Correct.
Or conferences are just not going to play them, and then conferences like the SEC
Well,
lose a lot of money.
Listen, the conference championship game. They really. I said last week. I said, they're going to count for something. I told Tony and I had this discussion.
Right.
They're going to count for.
But
they're saying
not.
They did count for something for some teams, and some teams for one team it didn't count at all.
They counted one way in one conference and one way in another, and that's one of those problems.
You don't come out and say, well, the games don't really count.
Correct.
That's a crazy statement to make because first of all, Alabama got drubbed, and they didn't move, and BYU got drubbed, but they moved, and Indiana was number 2, and they beat Ohio State, who was number 1. Well, that game counted.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
It sure did.
If it didn't count, then Ohio State should have been remaining at number 1. That was a crazy statement, in my opinion, to make in the first place.
Totally agree. If they're saying the championship game shouldn't count, then they should go ahead and make the selection before the championship games because all that doesn't count.
My gripe is I'd like to watch BYU go to Ole Miss instead of watching Tulane play Ole Miss again after getting beat 45-10 this year. You mean to tell me Tulane is one of the best 12 teams in the country?
You know, I'm
Tulane.
I'm trying to keep a seat here, and I'm trying to be as calm as I can, and I'm leaving. I've got to get to Donnie Moore before we get into what. Before we
He's
before
so
we need
outspoken right now.
before we get this thing
Stewing over
fixed.
there.
Donnie
just
Moore,
waiting my turn.
Donnie Moore, the way it all.
Donnie's been so quiet.
It's-
Nice.
Alabama, the way I see it, they've got good news and they've got bad news.
Okay.
They're in the 8-9 matchup, which is the best matchup in the whole first round. They do have to go to Oklahoma instead of playing at home. But if Alabama should play better and win this football game, here comes the bad news. They got to play Indiana.
And they just played Oklahoma 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, so like
And
I
they
said,
can't, and they're having trouble running the ball.
They
That's
are.
the problem with Indiana right now. They're going up again, and I'm not so sure if they're going to get by Oklahoma because
not either.
Oklahoma, their defense is better than Georgia's up front.
Yeah,
and they were -3 running the ball against Georgia up front, and even if they get by that. In order to beat Indiana, they're going to have to score 35 or 40 points.
Oh,
Tony,
easy.
I don't know whether they got that, but putting all that aside, I think a lot of this came down to a bearing in the ACC. I think there were, they were all, all the Power Four conferences felt like they deserved a team in the deal, and with Duke, winning the ACC championship. There was not anybody sitting at this table that thought that Duke would be the team that the committee would pick to go in there. This is. I think the ACC should have prevented this right up front. And I don't care what their rules are. Nobody's following rules anyway anymore. But
Rules?
you got
What's
Miami, and you got Virginia. Your two ranked teams in the ACC. They should have played each other. Problem solved right there. Winner coming out of there. I don't care if you say, well, it doesn't mean anything. It does in that game because the winner goes into that spot.
Certainly.
Now you got the end of the problem right there. But if you don't do that, then you're back, oh, gosh, we got James Madison in there. That's our rules say. And, again, who's following the rules? You're going to have to tell James Madison, I'm sorry. That deal's going to go to Miami right there. Or, whatever we want to put in there. But you got two D5 teams in there. It's it's a circus and it's a clown show. And the 12 teams that should be in the college playoffs should have a chance of winning the national championship. They should not just say, "Oh, we're just happy to be there." And we could upset somebody. That's what they say. We could have, but you're not going to win it. You have no chance whatsoever of winning the national championship. And you're keeping
Not
people
with that
out.
attitude.
You're keeping people out of there that have an opportunity. Now, they could still solve the problem. You could sit James Madison down and say, or Tulane and say, look, Tulane, you got beat 45-10. You're going to Oxford. You're going to get your tail kicked down there. And James Madison, you're going to get kicked too at some point in this whole deal.
Right.
But we've got a resolution right here. We've got a stack of money right here on this table right here that we can pay you out.
Cha-ching,
and
cha-ching,
it's
cha-ching.
going to be more than the $4 million. Because all you're going to get after that first game is $4. But if you just say, look, we're happy to be here, but we don't have a chance, we're going to take more than $4 million if you're going to give it to us, and we're going on about our business. But this whole deal it's a sorry fiasco in my opinion.
Welcome to college football.
And I've mentioned Notre Dame, but Caleb's already mentioned Vanderbilt and Texas. Lord, I looked at Texas. You talk about Vanderbilt's schedule. Look at Texas' schedule with 3 losses and who they've beaten. And there hadn't been any discussion at all about Texas, and nobody has said anything about anybody's losses. You say, well, Alabama beat Georgia. Great, they did. They beat Georgia on their home field, but they also lost to Florida.
Florida State.
Florida State, and nobody ever mentions that deal. And so
you lose in August, you don't lose in November.
It's almost like when they made
that's a good point.
Conferences,
but Notre Dame lost their games early by 4 points, a total of 4 points. 4 points. I mean, and they reeled the deals off. But I don't. And you guys can talk about this too, because we need to talk about what they can do to fix it. I don't think any D5 teams need to be in the playoffs. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they just don't need to be there. You're going to take the 12 best teams. You're not going to get one out of the D5.
I like having one. I think it should stick at one though, the best one, because then You give them a chance. You put them in there. Maybe they make a run. Maybe they upset somebody.
You know what?
But if you're not the best one.
Have you seen the show Dumb or Dumber? You know where the guy's asking the girl out that's really good looking, says, do I have a chance? Well, it's a 99.9% chance that you're not going out with me. And he goes, I got a chance.
You're saying there's a chance.
They don't have a chance.
There's a chance.
Listen, let them play their own national championship. Let them go to bowl games. I don't care what you do with them, but they don't. This is a billion-dollar industry we got right here. We don't need to see these teams that everybody gets fat on in the fall to build up their schedule. You all know what I'm talking about.
Boy, is he fired up or what?
He is.
Mike, you got to keep the Cinderella factor. You've got to have a Cinderella possibility.
You're a basketball guy. You should love the Cinderella.
Because
Hoosiers.
All you guys.
You've said this from the beginning. This is money. Money means you have to have storylines. You have to have a Cinderella possibility in there for that storyline. And honestly, and I've said this before, Boise State almost beating Oklahoma in that bowl game set this whole thing up when it went to overtime. It was 20 years ago, but that possibility and the fact that Boise State could play, because Oklahoma was favored by 4 touchdowns in that game. And still had to go to overtime.
Marcus, I love I love you and Caleb to death, and I like Donnie too because he's quiet over there. And I know what.
Tony, you're out of luck.
You notice who always gets out of these discussions.
But you guys have had too much. You've taken in too much Southern sunshine. You know what I'm saying?
Boise State had a Heisman caliber running back, and you were going to leave him out of the playoff.
Well, okay. Notre Dame's got Jeremiah Love up there, a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Well, hey, if they handed the ball to Jeremiah Love against Miami, they'd be in the playoff.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. Wait.
Very good.
Let me just ask you this. In the movie Hoosiers, all right, all the teams were the major high schools except for little team
Hickory,
little 1A school. I like that. So if you're going to keep that type of thought, then there's no Hoosiers movie.
Hey, listen, guys, listen. This
football
deal is not about Cinderella. It's not about Cinderella. If you want Cinderella, you go to the basketball tournament where they got 68 teams. We've only got 12 teams right here in this playoff deal. We don't need any Cinderellas. You want to advance to 25 teams or 24 teams. Throw in a couple of those teams if you want to. I guess it matters. They still aren't going to go anywhere. But if you want to put them in there, I don't care. But this is not the NCAA bracket. They don't need to be in there.
So
let's bring the BCS back.
So, Mike, here's the thing, though. This is what's happened. One Power 5 team is a Cinderella. 2 Power 5 teams is a travesty. That's the problem.
And this year, too, it was the worst group of 5 slate of teams in the past 3 or 4 years because they all kept losing to each other. Like Memphis was in the mix at one point, and they lost. Tulane has a couple losses.
Well, just be glad Navy's not in the mix because I've said this back when we came up with this formula. Because of the Army-Navy game, if you end up with a Navy team that is in that running for that spot, and the Army-Navy game is played after the selection, what does that do to it?
Yeah, I don't like the 2 D5 teams in there. I also don't like where you're going every week for 4 weeks with coming on Tuesday night, and you've got your top 12. The committee's got their top 12, and everybody's tuned in there, and you got your top 12, and all of a sudden, without any reason, it changes right before the final deal.
Right.
It changes right before the final deal. And nobody can really figure it out.
It's going back to what Caleb said.
Nobody. Why did you
make the rules?
Yep.
And then they don't go by them.
They don't go by the rules all year, and then all of a sudden at the end, Miami and Notre Dame are all of a sudden jolted into the mix, but they weren't all year.
But
and then my favorite part is Notre Dame sits out a bowl game, and then their AD went and blamed the ACC.
But listen, if you got the 4 deal, you got 4 chances that you can rank people. Yeah. Notre Dame schedules and their losses and their win, nothing changed in those 4 weeks. Nothing changed in the last week of the selection, and nothing changed the week they made the selection, the final selection. If Miami was better than Notre Dame, they should have been ahead of them before the selection Sunday when everybody's politicking on TV for Alabama and Miami.
Totally agree with that.
And say, hey, they don't play in a conference. Get them out of there. Nobody likes them anyway. Da-da-da-da-da. I don't get it.
The only thing that changed is that ACC championship.
Yeah.
But were they going to use that as a cop-out to drop Miami? Clearly not.
Yeah.
When you
All
think
right.
about it, I mean, is there any reason to be releasing the rankings in advance?
Just to talk about it.
Because it's not like a team can change their schedule and say, "Oh, we're going to play so and so now," or we're not, or we're not going to try to lose this game. I mean,
Yeah.
what is the point?
The only rankings that had this right were the AP rankings. Go back and look at the final AP rankings.
Yeah.
They had it the way it ought to be. They had it the way it ought to be, not the people making the decisions.
Well-
but I do feel like, and I know I probably got disagreement here, but I do believe there was a little bit of conference politics going on in this deal. And and in my opinion, those committee guys that were making the decision, I can understand why it was a really hard decision, because I think the SEC and some people were calling so many of those committee members that they couldn't even talk in there from their phones ringing in that final decision.
Well, you see what
I'm
they're
telling you, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Well, Mike, you see what they're doing in Notre Dame now? They signed an agreement with the college football playoff that if they're ranked in the top 12, they automatically get a berth no matter what,
Well,
even without being in a conference. So now, not only
So
did
they
people,
just changed the rule on that one now.
yeah, so not
Well-
only did people not like Notre Dame for not being in a conference, but now everybody's trying to not schedule them. Because if you're a Power 5 team, Mike, why would you schedule Notre Dame and give them a boost when they
Well,
get an automatic berth and you might get lost in the SEC shuffle?
First of all, there's not a conference in this country that wouldn't take Notre Dame. You know, because of their marketing, they're a national market. They are never going to play in a conference. They're never going to play in a
They
conference.
make too much money.
They make too much money on television and their rights. They've built buildings on that campus and they've used it, and they go to bowl games. All that funding goes to them. It doesn't go back into a conference. So I'm asking you people, why in the world would Notre Dame, after their history has been since the beginning of time in football, to be an independent and play games all over this country, why would they go into a conference and have to share that revenue?
Right. And that's why I brought up earlier. Then I think ACC should kick out the rest of the teams for Notre Dame. I mean, hey, you come as a full package. If you don't want to go football, forget it.
You're saying the University of California isn't worth as much as Notre Dame for sports?
I don't think so. Not the last thing I checked.
But on the other hand, I think Notre Dame every year, being an independent, they don't. And you're right, they're not in a conference, so they can't play for a conference championship.
Correct.
That's not a goal of theirs. Every time Notre Dame goes on the field, it's a bowl game because they have got to win all of their games or lose maybe one to be assured of getting into playoffs. They lost 2 games this year, and it's marginal. It was very, very marginal, and they know that every year going in that they're going to have to win them all or maybe lose one, and they can still go in there. But, you know,
But
not being in a
their
conference
case
might
for
have
that-
worked out for them this year.
but
How did it work out for them getting in the playoffs?
And
Right.
their case
Right.
for that is always going to come back to, we're in a conference for everything else. And when things get tough and the unexpected happen, we're going to expect the ACC, like 2020, to step in and help us out.
Yeah. Well, the reason they did that, if you look at their schedule, half of their schedule were ACC teams. If you look at that, ACC, they are affiliated, and they're bringing big bucks into the ACC because if they're going into North Carolina State and playing a football game, and North Carolina State is 3-6. They're going to fill that stadium, not because North Carolina State's playing that stadium, but because Notre Dame's in that stadium. And that's what it means, even with 6 games to the ACC conference with them,
But
going in there.
What Caleb said, there is going to be a backlash against this. So what you're going to end up with is them basically playing an ACC schedule without a conference championship game opportunity.
Okay, so real quickly, how does this all get fixed?
Well, Marcus, I think, is on the right track with the championships games. They've got to count for something, and I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't be conference affiliated. Maybe those games should be play-in games for the championship. Now that's a decision. Hey, listen, Notre Dame or nobody else holds these conferences to play in these championship games. That's their decision to hold them championship games.
Yep.
And all these people down here in the SEC that go, hey, we play the toughest conference. We're the toughest conference in America. Our teams play the best teams in America. We should have Well, let me tell you something. You created every bit of that. You brought Texas into your league. You brought Oklahoma in there. You brought Texas A&M in there, and you brought Missouri in there, and you can go on and on and on from where they were at the SEC at one time. They've created that problem, and they're the ones that want to have these championship games to bring in that money. So
here's
you're on to something, Mike.
Here's what you do,
Tulane could win the SEC championship. You don't have to worry about that Group of 5 berth.
Here's what you do: is you take your 4 conference championship, your Power 4 conference championship games, and you tell them, okay, you are playing for a first-round bye. We'll rank you when the day is over, and we'll seed you 1 through 4.
But they're not championship games anymore.
But you make it a championship game. However the conferences want to do it. But if you're in that game and you lose, you're out. You're not getting that large. But your 4 winners get those four first-round byes, and then the committee selects the 8 others from the teams that did not play in a conference championship game.
Yeah. I agree with what you're talking about there. But scheduling, and I know we got to go to a break here, but, Tony, scheduling is never going to be the same. It's never – you can't say we played the best schedule. Well, yeah, the SEC is the best conference in America. You probably do play the best schedule.
Sure.
You're always going to probably play the best schedule, because that's you're the best league.
Best league, best teams in the country. But
that's always going to be that argument there. But you can't fix that, can you?
No.
Unless all these conferences come up to the SEC, which is probably not going to happen.
Probably not
going to happen, Tony.
Well, I like I said, So how they fix it? I mean, they've got to have a meeting of the minds. They've got to have a certain points on this is how we're going to follow it, and you don't deviate from it.
And make that public.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then what they did, it seems like this was a lot of backdoor, closed door stuff that was going on behind everything, and they don't follow what they're saying they're going to do.
I think the football fans in this country want to see the 12 best teams in there. Correct. Now, Tony, if somebody gets left out, or like maybe they always do, at least we got the 12 best in there. Maybe this team should have been there.
Sure.
And if they were, they probably wouldn't hurt anything. They could probably still win the championship. But you got the 12 best.
Yep.
And right now you got 10 in there that could win the national championship and 2 that don't have a chance, taking up space.
Yeah, all I'm saying is this, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. We were having basically a lot of the same type of discussions 2-3 years ago when they were only bringing in 4. We were arguing over, well, the number 5 team should have been the number 4 or the number 6. So we were having the same type of arguments with the teams back then. So now they're kind of hinting, well, maybe we should expand to 16 because now we won't be arguing over the 12, 13. Well, you're going to be arguing over 16, 17, and 18.
Yeah. But the big difference is in those 4 teams, they weren't looking, well, maybe we ought to let one of those bids go to a D5, because, we just, there's that Cinderella deal. They might.
Hickory.
Yeah, Hickory, whatever. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide some high school basketball scores and some other news from around the area, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sportspage, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez Sports Page. Donnie Moore, we've been talking a little college football here, but let's switch gears, and you got some high school basketball scores from local area.
Yeah, we got a few here to let you be aware of in our Mandy B. Street Realty Local Focus segment. Moving on from football, just about. We're going to wrap up football today.
Blood pressure's
later
down
on,
a little bit.
But, yeah, but starting in basketball for the winter. High school basketball teams are playing. Some of them are playing in some classics and tournaments at this time of the day, the year. Alcoa is over at the Turnkey Classic at Knox Webb. They play Boyd Buchanan today, which is Gary Rankin's school now.
Yep.
So we'll see how that comes about. We had had a few scores from last night. Eagleton at William Blunt last night, and we give you the boys' score first because
yes,
it's more believable. William Blunt wins this one 57-47 over Eagleton, and in the precursor to that, the girls' contest, Eagleton didn't do a whole lot of scoring. The final score was William Blunt 76, Eagleton 2.
No.
Yeah. Two.
2 free throws, too.
How do you? Is that what it was?
Yeah, one person hit one free throw, one person hit another.
No field goals.
So
Not
wow.
a made
High
basket.
scorers scored a point each. Wow.
Wow.
We got to give give Nate from the Daily Times some prayers for watching that game.
No kidding. Yeah, he had to endure that. Moving on to Greenback versus Rockwood last night. I have a girls' score only on that one. Don't know about the boys, but Rockwood beat the Lady Cherokees 53-33, so by 20.
I've never seen that.
Heritage High School hosted Anderson County last night, and took a twin bill from the Mavericks, 52-32 in the girls' contest, and the boys 60-48. Mountaineers. So
We've had both of
played
those
well.
both those heritage teams in already this year, and both of them have been very confident when we've talked to them.
They sure have.
It seems justifiably so in the way they're playing here before the holiday break.
Yeah.
500th career win last night for Coach Flatford too at Heritage.
Nice.
Is it really?
Yep, and it was on the same day as his late father's birthday. So it meant a lot to him yesterday.
Worked out good.
Yeah, no kidding. Maryville plays Carnes today. In fact, they host Carnes. We'll have to see how that one goes later on in the day. Last night also, Seymour went to South Doyle. And
Big game, rivalry game there.
took a twin bill from the South Doyle as well. 52-42 in the girls' contest and 48-32 in the boys' contest later on. So that's all the scores I have right now for basketball. We're going to talk some football.
Well, you might as well.
Alrighty.
There was a game in progress last week while we were on the air, but it was not complete.
It was
When
not.
we-
You're right.
when we were done.
The 11 o'clock game was Alcoa versus Nashville Pearl Cone, and turned out to be the final score. You would think, well, that was a pretty good ball game, but
I'd have
It
Alcoa
really
in the
wasn't.
college football brackets.
have them in the playoffs.
I'd put them ahead of Tulane or Jamestown.
All right.
Alcoa wins this one and their 11th consecutive
Unbelievable.
state championship,
Unbelievable.
47-27 over Pearl Cone. 23rd or 24th
24.
24th altogether, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Goodness.
Crazy.
That's
And they didn't even need to throw the ball that much.
No.
Against Pearl Cone, it was the run game.
absolutely.
And they were beat up. They already down a running back to a broken foot, had one running back leave with a concussion. And Micah Jones gets Blue Cross Bowl MVP playing through a dislocated shoulder the whole game.
You
So
know
he wasn't
what?
even using his left arm.
Good thing you had Blue Cross there.
You know, this parade's starting up here in a few minutes. If I was Alcoa, I'm sure they're going to be in the parade.
they will
I'd
be.
have every one of those trophies that they've won in state championships on some type of hauler that was probably they'd have to be about 40 foot long, would it? 40 foot long
Have to be a
trawler
big one.
with all the trophies on it.
Well, Mike, you should see their introductory video this year because what they did was they had all the trophies lined up at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
And they flew
There
the
you go.
drone,
The drone.
There
over
you
the
go.
top of
Pan
it.
out through
Did
all
it
of
really?
the top
Oh,
of
And
wow.
that's
that
part
is-
of that's
yeah,
part of
it
their
was
walkout
nice.
video this year.
Yeah.
And you can see the faces from some of the people coming in there to visitor stands. One, they've never seen a video board before, but two, they're coming in, and here's you got all this music, and the lights are flashing, and you look up there, and there's like trophy after trophy
Yeah.
after
there
trophy
you
after
go.
trophy.
Gold ball after
Like
gold ball.
you want to trace the evolution of the TSSAA state football championship trophy. Go to the Alcoa trophy case. You
Yeah.
can see multiple samples of every one of them.
No kidding. Yeah.
And we got a new one this year, didn't we?
Yeah, they changed the trophy
Yeah,
to
it
be
was a little
taller.
different.
The
Yeah.
middle is, I think, plastic now. I don't like the way it looks as much.
It's got
the
kind
old
of a
one,
color to it.
Yeah, the old one was like flat and had like little guys running on the sides,
Mm-hmm.
and the year in the middle. But the trophy this year,
It was
is
kind
a
of
lot taller.
It was kind of a tallish, like more the Heisman or not the Heisman. The old one was more like the Heisman.
So this
Yeah.
one still has the gold football on the top and says state champion at the bottom, but it's got two like black plastic or wood pedestals holding up the two
Yeah.
different parts, and it says TSSAA in the middle.
That's cool.
So that's
very nice.
that's the
Yeah,
new
that's
one.
it.
That'll be easier to
That's
fit
the
into
old
the
one.
trophy case than the old ones were.
Don,
'cause they
I
were
like the
real
way
square.
the old one. I like the way it looks, more gold.
It stood out because it was square and you didn't see that many square
Yeah.
shapes anymore.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it was just strange having the Alcoa game on a Saturday because most of the time when they
I
play
know,
their
yeah.
championships,
The
it's
new
usually
division.
like on
Yeah.
a Friday.
Donnie, are you going to get a championship ring? I'm sure you will because you're
Well,
now.
who knows?
Oh, that's great.
I'll
Would
take
you
it if
would
they
you
give it
bring
to
all
me.
10 of your rings in here sometime? Because I want to see if you're. I want to see you walk and keep them tripping over your hands as they drag the ground.
Too heavy.
with those rings
Too
on all
heavy.
your
Yeah.
fingers.
I wouldn't be able to do anything. Those things are gaudy, aren't they?
Well, I remember it was 2 years ago they had the shirt one for the other thumb.
Yeah.
When they were going for 10.
For the other thumb, that's right.
So now that we're at 11, I don't know what kind of T-shirt they'll come. Somebody will come up with something.
Toes.
I guess.
At this point,
But you want to give Mandy B. Street a plug here as we kind
I
of
do.
transition
I
over?
always want to give Mandy B. Street a plug. Our local focus segment is sponsored by our friend Mandy B. Street and her realty company. For all your realty needs in Blount County and beyond, see Mandy B. Street. She'll take care of you.
Very good.
Marcus?
Yeah, and I was just going to continue the conversation
Let's
because
just do
Caleb was down there at the championship game. He got to see it firsthand. While we were sitting here, I was bouncing back and forth between
Yeah, you were.
how they scored story that was evolving online and the video, and I was plugged in listening to the guys at Two Hype for the broadcast.
Right.
But Caleb, you saw it. Would we be wrong to say that Alcoa Special Teams was the unsung hero of the game?
yeah, I mean I agree, but it's kind of been that way all year. Like you look at Kyron Tyson, their kicker, he led East Tennessee in points. And, people remember they lost to Anderson County by 1, and that was an extra point. But he's a guy who's always been consistent. The kickoff return for a touchdown. I think you had a game this year where Nick said they worked on special teams all year, and it turned into a kickoff return for a touchdown. And truthfully, it's just a ton of, athletes out there. And you don't have guys at Alcoa that play one way. So if you need a guy to go block on kick return or return the ball on kick return, they can do it. But I would say it was the unsung hero because they were up 14-0, and they had run one offensive play, and it was a Micah Jones run. And it was set up because of a good punt return. So I would say, special teams, the unsung hero, but also the defense is always good at Alcoa, and it was good all season and gave Pearl Cone troubles from, them being unable to just execute and snap the ball to stopping their offense and keeping Alcoa's offense on the field. So it was really a win in all three phases.
The one that I didn't see it till the replay. I heard Heath's call on it was the kickoff. That it wasn't an onside kick. It was just a pooch onside. But it's one I have seen them attempt several times this year. And Pearl Cone was totally not ready for it.
Yeah.
They're looking at each other while Alcoa's jumping on a live football.
Yeah, and I believe, too,
And it shut down. Like Pearl Cone had come back, put together their only really good drive of the game, gotten within, made it a 2-score game, I think, at that point. And Alcoa immediately, they score, and then they get the onside, it's not an onside kick,
pooch
but they
kick.
get
Yeah,
the
pooch
pooch
kick,
kickoff,
yeah.
and they make it a 4-score game, and it's like,
Done.
we're done. We're just
On
counting down to the timer
On
now.
the sideline, it was fascinating because it looked like Pearl Cone just didn't go for the ball at all. And then when you watch the
I
replay,
thought so too. Yeah.
Tyson put that ball exactly where nobody was.
He did.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was Cade Sennett with the recovery, sprinted dead at the ball. If they picked it up, he was taking somebody's head off, but then they never picked it up. So he just fell on the ball, and it was like, oops, look what
Yeah.
I found. And
Cade knew exactly where the ball was
exactly.
going.
So
And
clearly,
Donnie, like I said, we've seen that kickoff
Yes, we
several times this year. because it's pretty much the only one that isn't a touchback.
Right.
But we have seen Alcoa execute that kick where they have had him putting it in spots. I've never seen him put it in that dead spot like he did in the championship game.
But he did. He put it right where he needed to put it.
And, I mean, Pearl Cone is a well-coached team, too, but it's just they didn't expect that because when you look at the stat sheet, Alcoa is always kicking touchbacks and putting the defense on the field and didn't need to there, and I'm sure it resulted in a touchdown. So,
well, this is also a result that Alcoa is such a well-coached team. Those coaches have been there for years and years. They work well with each other. They're always trying to find just a little niche, just something a little extra.
A little advantage.
That gives them a little advantage where the other team is not prepared for and all that.
Right.
And so, again, we talk about the Alcoa and the outstanding players they have, but at the same time, give a little credits to those coaches over there because I tell you what, they are extremely thorough, and that's the result of having a
and they did what they needed to do because, and it's a little bit of symmetry to it, but. And Coach Nick said it a couple times, but these last two games, the semifinal and the championship game, Alcoa was playing the way that they played the opening game against Maryville.
I agree.
Where Micah Jones was the focus in the backfield, and they were trusting him. And some of that was by necessity because of injuries, like you said. But at the same time, when it comes to you need 3 yards and you're going to get 4, I don't know if there's a better back than Micah Jones. There may be some as good, but I don't think there's a better back for getting you those 3.
Yeah. And the craziest part to me about him is when they got Condice Cherry, he transferred up here. He's the running back that broke his ankle in the season finale. Condice Cherry is not really a defensive guy. And so they came up to Micah Jones and they're like, hey, Condice is going to be your full-time running back. Are you okay to play defense? Micah was like, yeah. And Coach Nick said he's the best tackler on the team. And then you get in the playoffs and Condice Cherry is out. And you never want to have just one running back. They said, hey, Micah, we need you to play every snap on defense, and we need you to be our bell cow running back. He said, okay, and he went and did it. He played just about every snap of the state championship on defense and that Greenville game as well, and then also had a standout day at running back. So and it's a testament, like Tony said, just to the culture at Alcoa of everybody wants to win and nobody's selfish. And I think that's why you see so many guys go to places like Carson Newman and have success out of Alcoa, and they win so many state championships. Is everybody just plays their role. We're not going to do anything fancy. The offense really the last 2 weeks was just run the ball, and if you can't stop the run, we'll just keep running it, and everybody's fine with that because it ends with a ring.
And at the college level, you notice the guys that you bring into your program coming from well-established schools with outstanding coaches compared to other recruits that come in there, and there's been a lot of issues going on, and it's not a very stable type of program. And so, therefore, we've got to work with those guys to try to get themselves figured out. Hey, this is how we're doing things. But we got Jamar Turner and Eli Graff, who both redshirted here. I mean, those guys. I tell you what, now. I mean, that's our future over at Carson Newman, and it comes from a great and outstanding program.
It does. Those guys were up to speed the minute they stepped on campus.
Yeah, exactly right. And they understood what their role is this year. They're never miss things. They're always there. Did a great job working with our scout units and all that.
Yeah.
And some things like Eli would do out there. After a play, our varsity, our first and second teams were saying, "Wow, look at this guy." So so we're.
He has a great football IQ.
Absolutely.
And it comes to the point, too, like if you go to Alcoa and you struggle in the classroom or you have issues off the field, you just won't play. They'll play somebody else.
Right.
And I think that's why you look at this group and, they win a lot of state championships. You rarely see culture issues. And I think that state championship game is probably the first time we ever saw personal fouls on Alcoa this year, and it was just because they were calling everything.
It wasn't the first one. I will say this was probably the most penalized state championship game I've ever seen.
It's the most penalized one in at least 25 years.
A lot of chirping going on in there.
But
well,
I don't
think you just start chirping.
There was a whole lot of they were very persnickety about procedure, and to the point that it became a detriment to the game, I think. But Alcoa does this thing, and it sounds cliche, but they can pull it off, and they do. Is that every year it's about those seniors, and the whole thing is you support these seniors because you want the guys to support you and you're a senior. And when you do that, all of the numbers we toss out there, they kind of fall to the sideline. I mean, it's not like the kids don't know them, but it's not something. It's not like they're going out there every day saying you got to win number 11. You got to. It's all about these. You got to help these seniors out to get what they want to do, and Alcoa, that's two things: win a state championship and beat Maryville.
One of my favorite parts.
If you can, and most Alcoa classes don't get to say they did both, but
That's right.
this one did.
It sure did.
One of my favorite parts of the lead up to this game is they do those press conferences, and then a reporter from Nashville asked Coach Nix how often he talks about the streak, and he had Jacob Crow and Jacoby Cooper next to him. And he turned to him and he's like, "When's the last time we talked about the streak?" And they just both shook their heads. Like that's not all it is. It's you take it one game at a time.
The only people who talk
one
about the
year at a
streak with Alcoa players are us.
Yeah.
We're the only ones who ever ask him
Yeah.
about it. And that's true at Maryville too. You know,
Sure.
it's the same thing when they had that 74-game run. The only people who were asking them about during that thing about what's the pressure like was us. It wasn't like the coaches were like, "You can't lose."
Yeah.
I mean, it was us.
They don't talk about it. They just go out and do their job. They practice like they play.
And what we haven't even mentioned yet today, I didn't mean to cut you off, was they won Class 4A. First year in a new classification, and same result.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think Alcoa football, as far as state championship goes, has ever been more impressive or more solid than it is right now. Their feeder system is outstanding. Their coaching staff is solid over there.
Absolutely.
They have stayed there. And the fact that they've moved up, Caleb, that you've mentioned, and not only moved up, but added better top teams to their schedules. You know, teams and divisions above them.
Played 3-6
to even strengthen their schedule even more. And then, on top of all that, being able to put some games away, you know, in their conference play, so to speak, to where a lot of young players can get in early and get that experience. They've got a great system down there, and, you know, hats off to them. They deserve
Let me finish.
everything they get.
Realistically, they should be a 3A school. They're
Right.
probably the smallest 4A school, and the main reason why they went ahead and got into 4A is because they weren't getting – they were hard finding teams for them to play at that 3A
Well, this is what
level.
we're talking about. And East Nashville's another one of those. That was one of the ironies was the two of the three smallest schools in the classification were playing for the state championship.
Sure.
Pearl Cone, to your point, was supposed to be 2A. I'm pretty sure they would have been a 2A school, and they
So
moved up.
you got that. But from Alcoa's perspective, if you stay in 3A, you're still finding 6 games a year and you're in a 4 or 5 team region.
Sure.
You go to 4A, so, and I look at this from the administrator perspective, not from the coach's perspective, but you got 7 guaranteed games because you're in an 8-team region. You've only got to find 3.
Right.
Which is a huge thing. Plus, every school that's coming in has got a bigger fan base coming in with them than you're getting in 3A. Because these are rather large 4A schools, mostly in that region. So when you have a game with Anderson County, you're filling up the stadium.
Correct.
You have a game with Heritage, you're filling up the stadium.
Sure.
Right.
You have a game even with Gibbs or Carter, you're going to
filling
fill up the stadium, and that makes a big difference when you're playing, not to pick on them too much, but when you're playing Scott and they have 22 people over there plus the band. I mean, that makes a huge difference to your revenue from that perspective. But, you know, Alcoa's never backed down from playing anybody, so I don't think it bothered the team itself at all.
To your point, Mike, too, about just Alcoa's dominance during this recent stretch, you know, Coach Nix, the Alcoa head coach, has matched Gary Rankin's wins against Maryville, and he's done it in 4 years because he's 3-1.
Good grief.
And I think it was Rankin was 16 years, and he
Yeah,
went
he was
3
3
and
and
13.
13.
Just to talk about this Alcoa recent dominance and the group that they've had over the last few years compared to, you know, a lot of other good Alcoa teams too.
Yeah, this junior class is going to be seniors next year. So it's going to be something special.
Yeah, they're
And they've been that way since they were
pretty
freshmen.
good.
Because
Right.
we had, I think there were 3 of them that started that freshman year.
Yeah.
I remember Damari and Micah both were starting before that year was over. And I mean, that's not to say there's not some the other classes aren't good, but this is going to be a really special senior class next year.
And you've got, I mean, Jameer Dean, who is leading receiver this year, is already racking up SEC opportunities. So I can't wait to see what he does as well. in
When
his
they have a
senior year.
summer for everybody else to look at him,
Yeah.
I think we're going to be talking about him a lot next year. And I think, not that defenses have ignored him this year, but it may be a harder year for him. I mean, it's not like he wasn't getting a lot of double coverage this year, but they may really throw some.
I don't
extra
think the
facts
rest
at
of the
it.
Tornadoes will complain if people are doubling Jameer.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Mike is going to be a junior too. isn't
He'll
he?
be a senior next
He'll
year.
be-
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's going to be senior next year.
So you've got DeBose, Cherry, Jones,
Manu,
Manu,
Dean,
Dean Man.
yep, Abu Hanya.
Yeah.
You've got that class is pretty
Legitimately,
large.
it's
And some of them-
everybody.
and I want to think maybe 4 of them have been will end up being 4-year starters,
I think it's
which is kind of unusual at an Alcoa.
It's legitimately every skill position just about besides Jacoby Cooper, the wide receiver, because you have to replace a lot on the line of scrimmage, which we know Alcoa hasn't struggled with in recent years, but you get almost every skill position back.
Sure.
And Thomas Manu is going to be building off of a year where he threw 2 picks all season, none in the regular season.
That's right.
And was a Mr. Football finalist. What was his
You know,
final
just
total?
funny thing, what state championship game was the first game this year? He had more incompletions than touchdown passes.
Yeah, his final
that's
stats for
right.
this year.
That
he
was
completed,
the first game.
He completed 79% of his passes for 2,068 yards and 34 touchdowns in the regular season. 34 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in the regular season.
Yeah.
He went into the final game of the season having more touchdowns than incompletions. And then he's gonna.
Yeah.
That was his first year ever playing quarterback at
Right.
the varsity level.
Because he was behind Eli last
Yep.
year and a half.
We gotta close here in a second, but I got a question. You know, Alcoa's had all these state championships, and all these players that have come through Alcoa. And I noticed one of their players this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe signed with Texas Tech. Is that correct?
Offensive
a
lineman.
team that's you know in the
Jacob
play,
Crow.
playoffs
yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm speaking for Maryville too. All the state championships that those 2 schools have won. Why haven't we seen more of these players at UT?
You know, I was talking to a coach on the sideline at the state
Have to ask
championship,
them.
and Jacob Crow is 6'8", and he hit a growth spurt. And the coach on the sideline, he's one of your rivals, Tony, was telling me that he didn't understand why Tennessee didn't get in on Crow, because that's like the perfect projectable athlete. You've got a 6'8" kid who you get in your program, 3-4 star, get in your program, put weight on him. By the time he's a junior, he's an SEC offensive lineman. They didn't understand why Tennessee jumped on him. But Crow's official visits were Virginia Tech, Texas Tech, and Memphis, I think. And when he got to Texas Tech, they offered him, and he wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Or then you look at Maryville, Brody Smith ended up at NC State, and he's
Yeah.
a Tennessee legacy.
And what about the what's the name that played at Alcoa and went to Kentucky and was in the NFL?
Randall Cobb.
Randall
Yeah,
Cobb.
yeah, I mean that's the biggest one right there. I
That
mean,
was the one. That's the one that David Cutcliffe will never live down. But you know, they look in the back. Tennessee does look in the backyard, but I'll never say they've got the eye like they used to have. It's just this feeling like they've got to go get so many guys out of Georgia and Florida with stars beside their name. Maybe it works. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you still get good players who do not get. And Robinette being another example. They were like, we don't have any interest. He's going to Vanderbilt, and he comes here and beats you in your own stadium.
Yeah, well, and another example is the big defensive lineman from I think Powell High School. That we got signed down at Texas A&M.
Walter Nolan.
Right, then transferred to and he was a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
Didn't go to
He's starting. He's
Coaches-
playing right now for Arizona too.
Yeah.
Coaches and fans, they see this over a period of time. We're all human beings.
Sure.
And let's say you have a great player, and here comes Tennessee. How are you going to feel about that? I mean, we're all human. It's almost like, well, where's you been the last 23 years? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like every once in a while you would come over here in your own back door. Coach Trail always said, a dog will fight harder in his own backyard. Remember that saying?
I
You
sure
think,
do.
go over there to Alcoa. Those kids know how to win, or go to Maryville. They know how to win. They've won state championships.
sure.
It's not like you're going out there and taking a chance on somebody that hadn't won anything.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that there just hasn't been
I will say
any
too,
kids, so to speak, that's gone over there.
one of my gripes on this topic is Tennessee's had success recruiting the Baylor School in Chattanooga, getting guys out of there, and everybody lauds that as in-state recruiting. Those kids one of the kids in their class that goes to the Baylor School is from Canada. That's not in-state recruiting. Like, I get he goes to school in-state, but I think you got to realize, like, true in-state recruiting is going to Greenville and getting Zay Anderson, or going to Catholic and getting Tyreek King, or if they would come into Blount County and get some of it, like, that's in-state recruiting, not going to the private schools that are or the boarding schools that just happen to be in Chattanooga.
That's international recruiting.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
another
but it'll
example
go
is
down as Tennessee.
T. Higgins.
Yeah.
From
Exactly.
Oak Ridge,
Oak
right?
Ridge.
Yeah, Oak Ridge right here, and he was
He's
being
in the
very hard. and
very
ended
good
up going
NFL
to Clemson.
player.
Yeah.
So,
Shavar Young is at Webb this year, one of
You
the
know,
best wide receivers in the state. He's going to Clemson too.
You know, Donnie, Coach Trail was never, he was never high up on 4-star, 5-star, whatever.
No, he didn't
'Cause
pay
always
attention to
said,
stars.
you know, you can put all the stars by a guy's name, but you can't measure his heart.
Yeah.
You can't measure his desire. You can't measure what, the bulldog in him. The bulldog, you just can't measure those things. So, pretty good. Time to get
That's
out,
true.
Donnie?
It is. It's
All
time.
right.
Yeah, let's
Time to
take a
turn
break.
the page, and up next is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Sports Page Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Guys, I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to go back on college football and kind of putting Tennessee on the back burner this week because they're having exams over there and they haven't played any basketball games this week, men or women, and we may hit on a few things before the show's over, but got a lot of things happening in college football. And Tony Iruli, one of the stories that I feel like has been kind of lost because of all the humbug involving what we talked about earlier: Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame, the brackets for the college football championship. But the story up in Bloomington, Indiana, with the Indiana Hoosiers, one of the worst programs in college football for years and years and years and years. And then you got a guy by the name of Curt Cignetti that comes in there from James Madison, totally under the radar, and goes in there and turns that program completely around. Well, really in a year and now 2 years, to where his only losses going into the championship games here in the next couple of weeks or so is to Ohio State and Notre Dame. He's only lost 2 football games in 2 years at Indiana. A remarkable, remarkable story.
Well, first of all, you got to look at Curt Cignetti's background. He comes from a coach's family. Cignetti's father, Curt Cignetti Sr., was the coach that followed Bobby Bowden when Bobby Bowden left to go to West Virginia. Cignetti's father became the head coach at West Virginia, and later, after he was there for about 8 years, became the head coach of Indiana, Pennsylvania, a very predominant Division II program in Pennsylvania. And his brother's also a coach. And everywhere he's gone, he's been successful. And he's a hard worker. He's a no-nonsense type of guy. And he was also at, I believe, Elon before he went to James Madison, and had 2 or 3 really good years as well. And so what he's done over at Indiana, I mean, it's really miraculous, because exactly what you said. I mean, there is really no history of success for Indiana football.
That's your classic worst to first.
I know this is a real big word to be thrown around.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a miracle. I mean, when you think about it, you know, I don't care what league you're in. If you go through the whole season and lose one game the first year you coach in a major Power 4 conference, And in 2 years, you just lose one
Yep.
regular season game in 2 years in a program that was a losing program before you got in there. That's
And then you beat Ohio State.
And then you beat Ohio State for the Big Ten championship in your second year, who's coming off what, a national championship?
Correct.
Yeah, they're the defending champs.
That's just
I mean,
it was if you were, you can't make it up.
No,
you
you
can't
can't.
make that kind of story up, can you?
No way possible. And so, like I said, I mean, he's turned the dynamics. He's turned the culture around in Indiana, which has always been traditionally a big basketball state. Now people are now looking at Indiana. Hey, there's a lot more to offer coming from the state of Indiana.
That's true.
And so he's on a magical tour right now, and it's not going to end soon. So I think I see them in the finals, and them being able to go for a national championship. Might end up between them and Ohio State again.
It could be.
Well, Tony, last year all four of those bye teams lost.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
now you got Indiana with a bye, and they're going to play the winner of Alabama and Oklahoma. And I think the big job for Curt Cignetti right now is to get his team back on the ground, on planet Earth,
Correct.
after being on the moon
Right,
pretty
right,
much
right.
here the last week or so. Don't you think that's a big job from a coaching standpoint to say, and they may have the Heisman Trophy today. We don't know.
Correct.
But they may have that in their pocket today, and they got the #1 ranking at the end of the year in a Big Ten championship. Now you got to get them focused on a whole new ball game here.
Right.
He's got his work ahead of him.
Yeah, but knowing Cignetti and his background and all that, I tell you what, I mean, he's a guy that he's got his eye on their goals, and I guarantee you his players, they're going to be all focused in. Obviously they're going to be really excited about potentially their quarterback being a Heisman Trophy winner. But they are on a run. It's an unbelievable run that it's happened here for the past 2 years over there.
Marcus, I'm going to put you and Caleb on the spot right here because I hear this all the time. When you're a transplant down here, what do you call them, a flatland tourister down here on a visa?
Clogging up the interstates.
I've been down here on a visa for a long time.
You're a naturalized Southerner, man.
I guess. If Indiana was in the Southeastern Conference, and I hear this all the time, where are they at? Where are they at after this year if they're in the Southeastern Conference?
I'd say second or third probably. I think everybody, you slip up. I don't know who said it recently, but somebody, I think it might have been a former Ohio State player, said in the SEC you got to play every week. In the Big Ten, there's 4 or 5 games. You can take the rest off. So I think, they'd slip up somewhere just like all SEC teams do. But I surely think they'd still be in the college football playoff mix and, probably would knock Ole Miss or one of the final SEC teams out to be in the playoff. But I don't know if they would win the conference as easily. Because, the Big Ten was, a 2-person race the whole year?
You see a lot more undefeated teams come out of the Big Ten than you have the SEC. Now, whether that actually means the SEC is better, I don't know. There's an argument to be made. But I'm going to you could see them as a one-loss team. I could see them making an undefeated run as good as this team has been. I could see them coming out as the SEC champion. Mm-hmm. But that's no guarantee they're going to win their first-round game. So we'll see what happens from there.
That's true.
What do you think, Donnie? How would they fare?
I agree. I think they'd be in at least top 5 in the SEC, if not,
or even higher,
or if not higher. Yeah, because they have a complete team this year.
Their quarterback
can play on both sides of the ball. Special teams are good. Absolutely.
What impresses me, Coach Iruli, about Coach Cignetti was in that Ohio State game when he was faced with a 3rd and long down there.
Yeah.
And was faced with, hey, are we going to play it safe here, run the ball, possibly not make it, kick it back, get a good punt, and let our defense try to win the football game or keep Ohio State from tying the football game or possibly winning the football game.
Right.
He drops Mendoza back and throws a 35 or 40-yard touchdown pass with Ohio State running out of timeouts right there.
Yeah.
I just thought, how many coaches would make that move right down, risking that play in that particular situation? And,
I think Ohio State was kind of expecting them maybe just to
Yes.
What you said, kind of, just take it, get a good rushing play, and then punt the ball to them.
You thought Signetti would do what Ohio State's coach Day would do, and just maybe kick a field goal. Like he got a fourth and a foot down there a couple of times. Well, let's kick a field goal right here. We're not going to go for the score.
Sure.
Let's kick it. And of course, he missed the field goal down there that cost
That's right.
Cost him right there. So I think that's kind of what impresses me about Signetti is the fact that he'll take a chance. Ohio State in the past has pretty much just they've been a little conservative and relied on their talent and so forth to make their play.
Right, and in most games that they play, their talent level is much better than their opponents. But
Signetti brought something else over, which was he has so much faith in that defense that he wasn't concerned making that call. He knew if they don't get it, he knew he had complete faith his defense could get a stop for him.
And I'm sure Coach can talk about it too, but the players feed into that. Like when your coach has that much faith in you and confidence on both sides, for the offense to go convert that and for the defense to feel like they're, invincible no matter what happens, like that comes from coaching. And I think, too, Signetti has a lot of those Saban lessons in him, and it's a very organized program. They don't practice too much and wear their guys down, which is easy to do in the Big Ten too. And you see it. You see the fruits of the labor paying off.
Yeah, and you look at a lot of these teams that are in the playoffs right now. You look at Oklahoma and you go, well, they got a great defense. They got one of their best defense, but their offense is just struggling.
Yeah, it is.
And then you look at Alabama and you think, well, if you can't run the ball, how far can you go if you can't run it?
Right.
And then you look at Indiana and you think, well, they're pretty solid on the defensive end. They held Ohio State to 10 points.
That's right.
And they can put up points when they want, when they have the opportunity.
And they're solid on all their special teams.
They can score 30 or 40 on you,
Easy.
and they can make their secondary strong, against the pass. And they got that great quarterback. You got to have a great quarterback in order to win championship. I mean, I'm trying to find something there that you can hang a hat on as an opposing coach and say, we need to attack this weakness right here. It's hard to find it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, usually this time of year, whenever a team's getting ready to play Indiana, they're saying, well, they're waiting for basketball to start up.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to motivate them near the end of the
I've been
football
there.
season.
I've been there.
No, that's why I was waiting for you to get a reaction.
Speaking of which, Indiana plays Kentucky today. Who you got, Mike?
In basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I wouldn't vote for Kentucky if they were playing the Russians. No, that's got to be Indiana right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
His true colors come out right now.
Good choice.
Well, listen,
Who's
four
your
of the last championships in the college football championships have come from the number one seed. Can Indiana run the table and go undefeated and win the national championship in football?
Yeah, I mean, I really believe they got that
I think
opportunity.
they can.
do it.
I mean, it may.
Can they do it?
Yeah, because it's like we talked about. But they got a strong belief in what they're doing. I mean, everyone's their path is all the same. There's been no deviations. There hasn't been off the field issues or anything like that. They've been completely focused on their goal this season. And so, they may end up playing against Georgia or Ohio State later.
If you
live down here,
team.
you got to have a soft spot
nice,
for a team that's been down like that, don't you? I mean,
Sure.
I hear a lot of talk. Well, they've had a good year, hadn't played anybody, but I'm all SEC. I hate Alabama during the year. I hate Alabama during the year, but if they're in there, champion, ever Georgia's in, I got to go with the SEC. What are you talking about? If you hate them, you hate them.
Yeah. Well,
Don't pull for
I think what sold people though, because they weren't playing the strongest schedule, but the game against Ohio State I think has changed a lot of people's mind. Saying this team is really the real deal.
Yeah.
And that's what's impressive about
Guys,
them.
if I'm looking at the playoffs and I'm trying to look at some sentimental team, what do you call those teams? Cinderellas. I think that's what you said. Cinderellas. Maybe not one that you think.
Is that Tulane or
no?
James Madison?
I'm looking.
Tulane looks good.
In the whole deal, I'm kind of looking at Ole Miss. Because their coach left. I'm thinking, I'd kind of like to see Ole Miss do pretty well.
They play a tough opener, Mike.
And then I'd like to see, maybe Indiana because of their past being so awful.
Sure.
And so as far as the playoff, It's not all bad according to the brackets. There are some good stories in there, isn't there, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think people, a lot of people like to see Indiana, possibly, but they also would like to see Ole Miss go on a run.
I think so.
I mean, with
yeah.
all the crap that went on with what's his name, Kiffin leaving that place, and the things that were going behind the
And
scenes.
boy, they treated them right in that bracket too, didn't they? They give them the lane.
Yeah.
That's right. and you know what's the bonus is?
They got a good scouting report on them, don't they?
Is next year that LSU goes to Ole Miss, the third game of the season.
week
Oh,
3.
I guarantee you that's going to be.
And guess who goes to South Bend next year? Miami.
Woo! Good. Hey, we'll Catholicize them real good when they go up there.
That'll be interesting.
Canonize them.
Yeah.
Won't we?
Hey, time to turn a break, and when we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sportspage, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment. And Donnie Moore, been real festive in here this morning.
It really has. I mean, we've got a lot of people lined up on Broadway out here to watch the Christmas
I
parade.
was referring to the discussion.
So, the discussion's been lively, that's for sure.
And we went ahead and switched to parade view so that people can see the street out there.
Good.
There is the world's biggest game of tag going on out here as they wait. Apparently, open streets is an invitation for something to happen. So there are small children all up and down Broadway keeping warm by chasing each other in circles.
No doubt.
You know, it always amazes me how many people come out when something's free. Huh, Tony?
Oh, yeah. Guarantee it.
If it's free, they'll be here.
Look, you got some races going on down there. They're ready to roll.
Yeah, all kinds of
Waiting
things
on-
going on
waiting
there
on Santa.
on Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We saw the Grinch go by in an Alcoa athletic department cart just a little while ago, so I'm assuming the parade will soon be reaching our vantage point here at Bluetick
On the back
Broadway.
of the card, it said tornado
Did
warning.
you look at that Grinch real close, Marcus? He's got a Notre Dame sweatshirt on.
They were going by so fast I couldn't see. Honestly, I thought it might be the one who was taking advantage of the Huntsville raccoon.
Yeah.
So does a Maryville cart bring Santa then if Alcoa had to bring the Grinch?
We'll wait and see
They gotta be
what
enemies.
he's riding on when he gets here.
Well, we'll try to keep Donnie Moore on what he's supposed to be doing here. And
Easily distracted.
Thank
Yeah.
you, guys. I
No,
appreciate that. It's time now for our sports headlines of the week, brought to you, of course, by our friends at Fast Signs.
He wasn't paying attention.
Well, let me ask you a question,
Yes.
Tony.
Yeah, okay.
Can dried up rivers flow once more
Yeah, give it one more shot.
after 5 years of inactivity, being
42
dammed up?
Yeah, I mean, Philip
got-
Rivers coming back to play some
Yeah.
NFL football. Hasn't played in 5 years.
That's
42 years old.
The
and-
Indianapolis Colts signed 44-year-old Philip Rivers this week, and there's speculation that he could actually start against the Seattle Seahawks tomorrow.
Wow, that'd be incredible.
Rivers, 5 years removed from playing in the NFL, knows Indy head coach Shane Steichen's offense well,
Yep.
owing to their time together with the Chargers. And if Rivers can help keep the Colts' season above water, it should boost his Hall of Fame candidacy.
Yeah.
Indy's last 4 games, however, are against teams looking to make the playoffs. They play Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, and Houston. We're pulling for you, Philip.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, you know, a little bit of history of him. I mean, he's from Alabama.
Yeah.
Both Alabama and Auburn did not recruit him at all because
that's exactly right.
really a little bit more towards about his throwing motion.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little short on. So he ended up going to NC State and just having a great career over there.
He sure did.
And he's one of the good ones, and he's always a tough competitor. I really wish him a lot of success.
What was that Toby Keith song? I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. So maybe one out of the Final Four.
Maybe
The crazy part to me is if he plays, his Hall of Fame clock will restart. So
That's
he'll have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Coach, I'd stay by your phone. The Titans are needing some linemen over there. Huh? You still?
Yeah.
You've been out a little ways, but
I think they need a couple more 5'9" Italian wide bodies over there like that.
But you still got heart.
I got a lot of heart. But according to my
it's
wife,
not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah. But according to Carol, she says not too much brains activity still left.
She would look at you and say, "Well, you've done everything else. Just go ahead."
Yeah, you're out
this guy at guard. Yep.
Well, the
New
2000
blocking procedures: grab them by the leg and hold on for dear life.
Yeah. The 2025 Heisman Trophy winner will be announced at 7 p.m. this evening, with the 4 finalists in attendance at the Downtown Athletic Club in New York City. The finalists are, in no particular order, Fernando Mendoza of Indiana, Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt, Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame, and Julian Sayin of Ohio State.
Who's your call?
I think it's going to be Mendoza. He's already I don't know. He's already won the Maxwell Award,
AP Player of the Year award.
Yeah, some Player of the Year.
So I don't know. They may be loath to give it to him for that particular reason, but I don't know.
Yeah,
and this year they moved the voting window for the Heisman Trophy to after conference championships.
Yeah.
So everybody watched him beat Ohio State.
That's true.
And then voted after.
Well, it didn't hurt him. Beating Ohio
Sure they didn't.
Here's an interesting item. Here are the top 15 ranked award winners since 1974, Heisman Trophy winners. They ranked, CBS Sports ranked them. Coming in at number 15, Robert Griffin III, Heisman winner in 2011. He's a quarterback, as you know. Number 14, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel.
No comment.
2012, yeah. Number 13, Devontae Smith, 2020 winner, wide receiver. But very few wide receivers or anything but quarterbacks win this award.
Alabama, right?
Yeah, that's true. Number 12, Sam Bradford, 2008, another quarterback. Coming in at number 11, Jameis Winston. Anybody remember him? He still plays, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's on the Giants now, I think.
Yeah, I think he's on the Giants.
Pops in there.
That's right, another quarterback.
Florida State.
Yeah. Bryce Young, number 10, 2021 winner, another quarterback. Number 9, Troy Smith. Remember Troy Smith?
Yeah.
2006 winner, another quarterback. Number 8, Lamar Jackson, 2016 winner. Another quarterback. Number 7, Derrick Henry, 2015, running back.
Stud.
He was.
He's still really good.
Yeah,
He sure is.
I take him.
He sure is. Yeah, I'd take him on my team. Number 6, Baker Mayfield, 2017, another quarterback.
I tell you what, I enjoy watching
I
Baker
love
Mayfield.
watching Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
do.
he plays with a lot of heart, and I just like the guy. Plus, he makes
Enthusiasm.
good commercials too.
Yeah, and good decisions too,
yeah.
mostly on the field. Number 5, Tim Tebow, 2007 winner, quarterback, Florida.
Yep.
Number 4, Marcus Mariota, 2014 winner, another quarterback.
He really had a.
Yeah, that one I kind of
I would
question.
have not put Mariota above Henry.
Wouldn't rank it. No, absolutely not. Number 3, Reggie Bush, 2005 winner, a running back, another running back.
Yep.
Southern Cal. Yeah, Southern Cal.
And
Played for the
depending on
Dolphins.
how you count, a 2-time winner because he won it, they took it away, and then they gave it back.
That's true. Yeah. Number 2, Cam Newton, 2010 quarterback.
Yep.
And the number 1 ranked Heisman Trophy winner, of the 15 that are they ranked, Joe Burrow, 2019 quarterback.
Really? LSU.
Yep. Who was the runner-up that year? You remember? 2019.
It was Ohio State quarterback, right? Justin Fields.
It was a quarterback. It was Jalen Hurts from Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Still playing.
Who won the last Heisman Trophy at Indiana?
Nobody. Nobody's
Very
ever
good.
won it.
No one has ever won.
Did he
Heisman
did he
Trophy
go
in
on and
Indiana.
graduate?
Yeah.
Nobody. Did he
Nobody.
graduate?
Nobody. Nobody. Just a
Nobody
big
but
head.
nobody.
Nobody.
I know. I'm pulling for Pavia to win it. Yeah.
He could win it.
Why?
He talks too much.
Well, you know,
He's
but
not in the playoffs. He didn't win a championship.
But they're going to the ReliaQuest Bowl.
yeah, I mean, you know, I just, you know, I again maybe because I've been around Vanderbilt a lot. I know what Vanderbilt's
You're
been.
just like
and-
you've had too much of this Southern sun.
You're drinking the juice.
Okay, wait a second. So you're talking about Indiana's quarterback, right?
Mendoza.
And, yeah, and where are you from again?
Indiana.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I connected
couldn't
the
help
dots.
it. I couldn't help it. That's just where my parents lived.
There you go. Yeah.
I connected
You
the
didn't have a
dots.
choice in the
Okay.
I
matter,
didn't
did
have
you?
a choice of the matter. Caleb, who's going to win it?
I don't think Pavia, and I don't think Jeremiah Love. And I know the Heisman committee watched. If the Heisman committee, like I was thinking Julian Sayan's been really good, Mendoza's been really good, and you watch Mendoza beat Sayan head-to-head,
Yeah.
I think that vote doesn't.
You like Mendoza?
Should make a difference.
You like
Yeah, I like
Mendoza?
Mendoza.
I don't think the last few years we haven't had a really runaway candidate.
Yeah, this
No.
and I'm going to be fine with Mendoza winning. I won't have a problem really with any of these four guys winning.
Yeah.
I might have a little bit of problem with the Ohio State guy, just because that was the only real head-to-head we got.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, you can make case for any one of these guys. And it's not like you're going to be like, well, that was a terrible pick.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all okay. I mean, just nobody ran away with it this year.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, we got police.
Good.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they know I'm
Here
here.
they come.
Just a note on what Marcus was saying, Donnie. Julian Sayan and Fernando Mendoza, their stats are pretty close. They're pretty close. Yeah, one threw Sayan threw for 3,323 yards, and Mendoza 2,980. Both of them had 6 interceptions. One led their team to the number 1 spot, and the other one number 2 spot. And so they're one had 33 touchdowns. Mendoza had 33 and Sayan had 31. So
Yep.
I mean they're pretty
very
But
close.
I'm like Caleb. I think the
head-to-head.
head-to-head in the playoff game.
I said this jokingly
Championship game.
earlier, but if Notre Dame would have gave the ball more to Jeremiah Love, he could have easily put up numbers
Yeah.
to be in that conversation.
I don't like
too.
him for what Notre Dame's been through, and he's had a great year. 1,372 yards, 6.9 yards per carry. That's
pretty impressive.
Tony, that's a
it
running
is.
back you could learn to like. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly right. I mean,
he's had a
he's got the
great
stats.
year.
He's got
And Diago Pavia too, with his 3,192 yards and 27 touchdowns. A great year by him, and that's a great story too with Vanderbilt having a Heisman Trophy.
Absolutely.
All right,
Getting
Donnie.
close on time. Better move on here. Michigan head football coach Sharon Moore, no relation.
Are you sure?
No,
I'm sure.
You might want to double check.
Yeah,
Well, he was fired this week for an alleged inappropriate relationship with a staff member. End of quote.
It may not have been alleged.
It may not have been. He was arrested after a prosecutor said an incident occurred at the home of the staff member he had an intimate relationship with. The former Wolverine head football coach is facing a felony charge of home invasion and 2 misdemeanor charges of stalking and breaking and entering without the owner's permission.
You just can't make this crap up. I mean,
Absolutely.
Don't people have? Well, maybe not, but common sense.
Hey, we're a little short on common sense.
God, he's married. He got 3 kids. He's right there. He's in not just a job, but one of the premier coaching jobs in the country, and he's blowing it.
That's true. He is.
And,
Hey, this is nothing. College football is a soap opera, Tony. I guess it'll be on Netflix with a.
Oh yeah,
with a
I
deal
guarantee
next
it'll be
year.
Netflix and all that. And, the question is, I mean, does she
weekly
have a
deal?
Yeah, does she have a chance of being fired too? Because she had an inappropriate
Well,
relationship.
he gave her a raise
Oh, really?
Must have been when it started, because all their salaries are public, and she was making $50,000 her first 2 years, and randomly this year she's almost pulling $100,000. So
Wonder how that happened. She had a good resume.
It's in the writing. But
come on, Marcus. I know you want to say
there.
that.
No, I'm just going to say roll on.
We got plenty of time.
Don't either.
Hey, it's a good thing Ray Trail wasn't here because he'd be real. Oh, did you just say that? Great minds think alike.
The 2026 Winter Olympics are set to take place in February in Milan Cortina, Italy, and we've already suffered a pre-games injury. Swiss downhill champion Michelle Giesen, who took home gold medals during the past 2 Winter Games, crashed into a fence during training on Thursday, and the 32-year-old was airlifted to a hospital in Zurich. She is set to undergo surgery after suffering injuries to her neck, wrist, and knee.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah.
I mean,
can you
when they
imagine
wipe out.
doing 70 miles an hour downhill
yeah.
and hitting a fence.
Yeah.
Whew.
God bless her.
Hey,
Wow.
Lindsey Vaughn had a great run yesterday, and she's on the comeback.
Yeah, she won.
she
Didn't
is.
she?
And she's
I think
another one of
she
those-
won last week.
Yeah.
Competition.
She-
First one.
And she's up in age too.
Yeah. But that's tremendous that she's still able to compete and do very well.
That's
That's
true.
great.
On this day in sports, December 13th, 1922,
Okay. Anyone remember
manager Charles Ebbets of the Brooklyn Dodgers
that one?
had a field named after him, didn't he? Ebbets Field. Yeah. Proposes putting numbers on players' sleeves or caps. Up until that point,
They didn't have it.
they didn't have numbers. It's hard
Makes
to tell.
sense.
Hard to tell who they were without without knowing. 1956, Dodgers trade Jackie Robinson to the Giants for pitcher Dick Littlefield. Dick Littlefield. They got $35,000 for him, and you know what Robinson did?
He didn't
Time
go.
retired.
He retired instead of being
Yep.
traded.
Yep.
Yeah, he sure
I
did.
know. He
That'd
said
be a hard
that was
move
it.
for somebody from Brooklyn to go to the Giants in New York.
Yeah, it would. 1977, 14 University of Evansville basketball players die in a plane crash. You
Plane
remember
crash,
that, don't you, Mike?
Yep.
1983, 9,655 fans witnessed the highest scoring NBA game in history. In 3 overtimes, Detroit beat Denver 186 to 184.
Great defensive game.
Indeed, it was.
it is crazy.
1996, free agent Roger Clemens signs with the Toronto Blue Jays.
I forgot that.
Yeah, he played for the Blue Jays. 2015,
Is Roger ever going to get in the Hall of Fame, do you think? Marcus? Roger Clemens?
It's questionable.
Don't look at me.
It's questionable.
Yeah.
I don't get a vote.
Okay.
2015, Conor McGregor KOs Jose Aldo in only 13 seconds.
Pretty good. Got paid well for it.
Conor McGregor was a fighter,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling
yeah.
you. Birthdays on this day. 1913, light heavyweight boxer Archie Moore, born in Benoit, Mississippi, died in 1998. Also no relation.
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting the Moors pretty good.
Yeah.
1926, American pitcher Carl Erskine,
Yep.
Major League All-Star, 1954, threw 2 no-hitters, played for the Brooklyn/LA Dodgers, born in Anderson, Indiana, Mike,
Well, there you
died
go.
in 2024.
Yeah, got a statue of him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
1942, Hall of Fame pitcher Ferguson Jenkins,
Oh, he
National
plays
League Cy Young winner, 1971, All-Star, 1967, 71, and 72, played for the Cubs,
Yeah.
born in Chatham, Ontario.
Oh, really? Didn't realize.
Born in Ontario. 1960, here's another name you'll remember, Richard Dent, Hall of Fame defensive end for the Bears, born in Atlanta, Georgia. A couple of deaths on this date. Lamar Hunt died in 2006. American sports executive, NFL owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, died at the age of 74. Lamar Hunt. And in 2017, American College Football Hall of Fame linebacker Tommy Nobis.
Oh, number 60.
Tommy Nobis, number
Falcons.
60. Played for Texas and the Atlanta Falcons. number 1 pick in the NFL draft in 1966, and also Rookie of the Year that year, 1966. Played for the Falcons, as we mentioned, died at the age of 74.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week's sports headlines.
I got one more to add.
Go ahead, Tony.
100 years old today, Dick Van Dyke.
Yep. Not too sporty, but
so there's also another one I want to add on there, Donnie. Southern League controversy has erupted.
What'd I do?
One of the Smokies' opponents, the Huntsville franchise.
Yeah.
They do the same thing that what you can get in Knoxville. They have a light display at the park.
Okay.
Admission is $28 a head to walk through the park. So the example that has been quoted on Facebook is a family of 4 would cost them $112 to walk through and see the lights. And
less than that to go to a game.
And one of the mothers has pointed out that the residents of the city of Huntsville own that park because it is a public park the city paid for.
Ooh, snap.
And that the city forgave the team's portion of the payment for building that park. So it is completely, in theory, owned by the city, and they want to know why they can charge admission to come into the city park.
To a public-owned park. Good question.
So it has blown up on Facebook this week.
I'll
if you want to Google it up, they have a very wonderful AI-generated Grinch stuffing money down the raccoon spacesuit.
For comparison, the Smokies, it costs you $10 to go look at those lights, which is much more on par.
And Boyd's put up a lot of money. The team put up a lot of money
No
for
doubt.
that park.
Hey,
That is not
let
completely.
me say one. Have you guys driven through Chattanooga? They are rebuilding the
Lookout Park.
Lookout Park. You know, where there used to be an old warehouse and factory that was decaying and all that. I mean, it's really coming and really becoming very good.
It's supposed to be done for this season.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I'm
what
very
they say.
impressed.
But I like that they're using the theme of the warehouse and the factory and
Correct.
making it feel like Chattanooga.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this week's sports headlines, brought to you as always by Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. Back to you, Gunner. You got about 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk a little Tennessee football here. Tennessee's accepted an invitation to play in the Music City Bowl and will take on Illinois. The game will kick off on December the 30th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The contest can be seen on ESPN. Illinois will bring an 8-4 record onto the field. Caleb, I'll get with you on this. Your thoughts on Illinois and Tennessee getting together?
Yeah, I don't think
you find that exciting.
Oh man, I'm jumping for joy. I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody's really excited about the Music City Bowl. But part of the decision making for Tennessee was the players get to be home with their families for Christmas because of the date of the Music City Bowl. And more importantly, with everything going on now, Mike, Tennessee made it clear they weren't going to take a bowl that was after New Year's because that's when the portal opens on January 2nd.
Yeah.
And they want to be ready to do all their portal recruiting. So it really works out perfectly for Tennessee. Easy trip. Their families get to be with their families on Christmas. They don't have to worry about the portal. And I think that was big for Tennessee in this situation. And not only, give those seniors who want to play one more time a chance in a bowl game, but also, make sure they're home for Christmas and not take away a ton of time. But I think the 2 or 3 weeks of extra practice is big because they'll get a lot of those new freshmen on campus too that can go through some of those bowl practices.
Well, both teams have got orange. Both colors are orange.
And,
but
and they just played in basketball.
There's going to be a lot more Tennessee orange over there probably than Illinois orange. But the fact that the game is being played in Tennessee and it is being played in Nashville, it's close and convenient for everybody to go to. I anticipate that there'll be a good crowd there. Do you see it any otherwise, Caleb?
No, I think it should be a good crowd. And truthfully, going to this Music City Bowl, Mike, is probably cheaper for a lot of families than going to a home game in Neyland Stadium. So I think you'll get that. And also the Nashville, I'm sure there's a ton of Tennessee fans in Nashville who can turn out. So I don't know if you want to say, depending on the weather, might not be sold out.
Weather will be a key factor.
I don't think it'll be sold out or packed, but I think you'll get a good crowd for a bowl game. And that's the reason the Music City Bowl wants Tennessee
if
so
it's
bad.
If it's 40s or 50s, you'll have a big crowd there and it'll be partisan Tennessee. If it's in the 30s, then you're going to see a lot more Illinois orange in that
You're
stadium.
still a few weeks out, but right now it looks like it'll be about 55 and cloudy. So
Coach, I think it'll be a decent crowd. Is this really a no-win situation for Tennessee, though? If they win the game, is the faithful going to pretty much say, Illinois, who's Illinois?
Yeah.
It's just like playing Iowa or Northwestern and so forth. And if they lose, it's
Yeah.
There we go.
There
you
we
know,
go.
boy, we're really on the slide now. We've gone from 9-3 to
Yes.
8-5
We,
now.
we lost to Illinois.
I mean, you know, this is just when you look at it, it kind of looks like a no-win.
yeah,
deal.
I mean, you know, I don't think they're, you know, the Tennessee fans are excited about playing Illinois, and you know, they've got to be able to at least go out there and play well and win the game. I mean, there'll be a lot of junk thrown at Tennessee if they lose to Illinois.
If they lose to Illinois,
Because
it'll be, instead of we'll get them next year, it'll be we'll get them in 27.
Man,
Yeah.
But you can also get your 10th win, which is big for all the statistics.
Certainly.
True.
And
you know, Tennessee hadn't sniffed 10 wins for a long time before Josh Heupel, so I think there is a little bit of pride
Correct.
on the mantle.
And it's, you know, it's basically a home game for Tennessee.
Yep.
So it should be a good crowd and a lot of really good support out there right now.
how do they get their 10th win?
How
They're
they-
8-4, aren't they? In Tennessee, 8-4.
Is my math wrong? Well, they get their 9th win.
Okay, good close. Hey,
I thought, have I missed something here? Did they win that Vanderbilt game? I thought
Hey,
they lost.
Music
that
City
Vanderbilt.
Bowl playoff. You're right.
hey,
They are.
hey,
Yeah.
you rounded up to the nearest 10th.
Yeah,
that's good.
that's all right. Hey, Coach,
Yeah,
I really
that's what everybody does.
let's
around
see
that.
if he
talking
has-
about
Round up.
Illinois. I know people aren't familiar with them, but that's another program in the Big Ten that was really down. And Brett Belima came in there from Arkansas. You know, he was
Correct.
in the Southeastern
Right.
Conference, and he's really turned that program around up there. In fact, when Indiana played them early in the year, they were ranked.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe maybe close to the top 10 or right close to it.
And believe me, I mean, he was at Wisconsin first, then he went to Arkansas. So I mean, he's a Big Ten guy, and his teams are always tough, physical football. And so, you know, he's had good, solid success wherever he's been at. And Illinois, you know, it's a lot like Indiana, not as bad, but you know, they really haven't had very much success, especially recently until Belima has come back,
Yeah.
and now that's turned into a solid.
They're very
program.
competitive now.
Yes, they are. Yes,
Listen,
they are.
and they got a quarterback, Luke Altmaier, and I know that name doesn't ring a bell around here, but Tennessee was trying to get him
the
before
portal,
that
yeah.
deal
the
worked
portal,
out with
okay.
Joey Aguilar.
Gotcha.
So, you know, we're going to see a couple of pretty good quarterbacks in this game. May see a high-scoring affair.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it a night day or night game?
5:30.
5:30 game.
5:30 game.
Good.
Tennessee's got a 67.5% chance of winning.
Good.
6.5-point favorite. That's the early part of it.
Yeah.
Coach, I want to talk about these bowl games and where they're going. I'm a little concerned for them.
Well,
A lot of players are opting out. The transfer portal is a problem. You got teams now opting out. I know the big story's been Notre Dame. I think if it hadn't been the situation that we had with Notre Dame this year,
Yeah.
they would have gone to a bowl game.
Yeah.
But the way things worked out, they decided not to go. But they're not the only one. There's 9 other schools,
Right.
major schools,
yeah.
Power 4 schools that decided not to go.
I
to
think
bowl
the
games.
dynamics of football is changing with the bowl games, people opting out, you know, NILs, transfer portal, all that. We got too many bowls right now.
And-
I think we need to cut back on the bowls.
Oh, we got 39 this year?
Yeah, I mean, basically,
Gosh.
you know, you're getting teams that are 6-6 eligible to go to a bowl game.
Yeah.
And it should not be a reward to go be an average team. And so
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
not good enough.
Yeah, and I think when someone gets those you know, the money from the schools, you know, if they opt out, I think whatever they get paid, they should, you know, it's gone.
Well, bowl games used to be they meant something.
meant something,
you know.
sure.
And back
Yeah.
when this is going way back there,
Yeah.
but when I was real young, I mean, we're talking orange, sugar,
Sure.
rose,
Cotton Bowl.
cotton. Those
Yeah.
those were
Those were
it.
the
That
four
was pretty
big
much it.
on New Year's
and
Day.
then as I got a little older, here came the Blue Bonnet Bowl. You remember the Blue Bonnet Bowl
Yeah, I do.
and the Gator Bowl
Blue
came
Bonnet
in
Bowl.
there.
And,
And the Liberty Bowl.
and the
And
Poland
Liberty Bowl.
Weed Eater Bowl.
But-
don't forget that one.
But
The
they're
Duke's
just
Mayo Bowl.
Mayo Bowl.
It was a big reward because there wasn't very many of them.
Right.
But now there's so many of them, they were trying to get teams with losing records to
Yeah,
get in.
yeah. I think you probably need to cut about 50% of those bowls out because
Yeah.
players don't want to play in it, and you know it's time to move on.
Yeah. Well, if the players aren't wanting to play in them and they're opting out, then the coaches, you know, do you
Yeah.
want to? If you take Notre Dame and they've got transfer portal, They've got players opting
Yep,
out for
yep.
the pros,
Yep.
and it's a really losing proposition for them. You know, if they was to go to the bowl this year,
Yep.
everybody's going to be judging them on not making the playoffs and thinking that's the same team. It would be an entirely different team.
Well, it's really started off when they started opting out.
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, look a couple years ago what happened in Florida State. One of the top teams in the nation and all that, and they had like 30 guys opt out
right.
of the bowl
It wasn't
game.
fair to
Right.
them.
No,
Wasn't fair.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, we'll be back to talk some Army-Navy football. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here with Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and Daily Times sports writer Caleb Giroux and Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli. And today at 3 p.m. on CBS, the college football regular season, Caleb, pretty well wraps up with the traditional Army-Navy game. And I don't know of a more traditional game, a game with as much color that takes place in college football than the Army-Navy game, and what a great game to wrap up the college football season.
Sure.
What do you think, Caleb?
And they're in Baltimore this year.
Yes, yeah,
And they're trying to go to Atlanta here pretty soon, too. Start bringing the rivalry around America.
yeah.
I think the core of cadets at both schools would love to have a game where it wasn't 20 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, play inside a little bit.
And I heard last night, I think, that the FCS championship game this year is in Nashville.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
Wow. This has been a very the series has been close. They've played 125 times. Navy has won 63 times, and Army has won 55. There's been 7 ties. Navy won last year 31-13. The first Army-Navy football game was played on November the 29th, 1890. 1890, and Navy had been playing football since 1879, and Army had just kind of started it up.
Yeah.
And Navy won that game 24 to nothing. But in a lot of those years, Marcus, the game, it didn't mean a whole lot. But in the past several years, Army and Navy have had outstanding regular seasons, and they go into this game today. Army 6-5, and I think they're going to play in Fenway Park
Yes,
in a bowl
Pinstripe
game.
Bowl.
And then Navy at 9-2 is in the. Are they in the Liberty Bowl? Is that correct? 9-2.
I believe, I'm not sure of the bowl. The
I'm
record's
not
right.
Okay,
but
well,
I don't remember.
we'll,
exactly
we'll
where
check
they're
that.
headed.
But both teams.
It is the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, both teams are in bowl games, so it means a lot more than it's meant a lot of times in the past, Marcus.
It does, and like I said, I would love it if this game became a factor in the CFP in the future, especially with the way Navy has played the last few years, where they've, in the middle of October, we're talking about them as possibly being one of those next level 5 teams, because they were in that conversation this year again when Memphis was in the conversation. So I think that would be great to see, because I think it would add a whole nother degree of emphasis to this game. But this one is just like it's not like it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
No.
There was a time there where it became like it was the only time you were going to see two wing T teams play each other in college. But
now you just got to go up to Carson Newman.
Now we've gotten past that, and it's a more dynamic game. But it's still one where you can see a lot of enthusiasm, usually two of the most disciplined teams you're going to see in college football.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I mean, it's a great game. I enjoy watching this one.
Yeah, we mentioned Navy's going to be in the Liberty Bowl. They're going to play Cincinnati, and Army will be playing Connecticut in Fenway Park. But one thing about this Army-Navy game is there's a lot. It's pretty much 3 yards in a cloud of dust for the most part. There's a lot of running, and both teams run similar style.
They sure
on
do.
the offense. Now, Navy has stepped up the passing a little bit more than they have in the past, but pretty much it's line up in the trenches and go after each other.
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
It's more like the RPO, because you're going to run 4 times before you get to that pass line.
Exactly. And the other thing, if they get those running games going, Donnie Moore, the game goes quick.
It sure does. Clock doesn't stop very often.
Yeah.
Blake Horvath for Navy, though, he's been no joke. Throwing the ball a little bit, but running the ball a lot.
But he's efficient when he does it for the most part, which is what you really need to make that happen.
You start throwing incomplete passes, just don't never throw it again.
You know, I looked some statistics up, and there's been some years where they didn't play, and I thought this was interesting. From 1894 to 1898, they didn't play 14 years.
I remember that. Oh no.
And the reason they didn't play
Had me fooled.
is there was an Army general and a Navy admiral who were at odds, and it almost resulted in a duel between the two. You know, he walked so many spaces and turned around, and they canceled the game for all those years because of the feud between those two. Between those two people. Another interesting deal, in 1890, 271 members of the Corps of Cadets each contributed 52 cents to pay half of Navy's traveling costs. About that deal, huh? You wanted to play. You didn't know, weren't for sure they were going to show up, so we're going to collect some money for them to be there. Yeah. Of course, in 1917 1918, they didn't play because of the World War, and in 1928 and 29, they couldn't come at an agreement on academics, could not reconcile player eligibility standards.
Oh, wow.
Don't have to worry about that today, do we?
No.
Well, maybe
somebody's doing the
maybe
homework.
at the academies, but nowhere else.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Really.
And, of course, the mascots, you got the Army Mule and the Navy Goat. That dates back to 1899.
Wow.
You know?
And probably the most stolen animals in the history of the world.
Yeah. Before the week before the
you can't steal Bevo.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You can. I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it.
It'd be like trying to steal that tiger from LSU.
Yeah. In 1963, the game was the first to have instant replay.
Wow.
How about that?
Was it instant?
Yeah, we're using that quite often now, aren't we? Used to. Yeah, replay. And remember the show MASH on television?
Yeah.
In 1973, an episode of MASH referenced a fictional Army-Navy game that was on the radio, over in
I remember
Korea.
that. I've seen that episode.
The game ended 42-36 in favor of Navy. There has never in the history of the series a game ended 42-36.
Not as high scoring as that.
How about that?
No,
How about that deal? Yeah. There's been one. You mentioned the different places, Caleb, that they're going.
Yeah.
And they're playing in Baltimore today, I think you mentioned. But anyway, they've only played one game west of the Mississippi. Did you know they played a game west of the Mississippi?
No.
Does anybody know where they played?
Rose Bowl?
1983 Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
They went all the way to the Rose Bowl to play an Army-Navy game. Yeah.
And that was technically, I think, counted as a Navy home game because of its proximity to
the ocean,
the bases.
They've only had 6 games played on the home fields of the two academies.
Yeah, that never worked out well.
Yeah.
It never. Well, one is seating capacity, but the other is you're visiting. You've got a large visiting contingent for that game, more than you're going to have for any other contest.
Yeah, definitely.
Most of the games throughout history have been held in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
But the field or stadium that has held the most games outside of Philadelphia was Polo Grounds, the old Polo Grounds in New York, where the Giants played. Yeah.
Wow.
Largest victory, 51-0, Navy in 1973, and the longest streak has been Navy, 14. Army is known as the Black Knights, and Navy is known as the Midshipmen.
The Middies.
The Midshipmen. And can you guys name some great players that have played in the games?
Oh,
Great
boy.
players. Some of them, well, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Heisman Trophy winners that have come out of these games.
Oh, I'm trying to think of the last one. He was before David Robinson and got the exemption so he could play in the NFL. Was it Means? Running back, ended up late 80s, I think. Ended up playing in the NFL while he was assigned to a recruiting station.
Yeah. Caleb, do you know any of these Heisman Trophy winners?
I
You
don't
weren't
think so.
born. You weren't born. How about Donnie? You're pretty good on.
I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember any of them.
Oh boy, here we go. 1963, Roger Staubach. Anybody
Yep.
heard of
There
that
we go.
name? Dallas Cowboys. What a pro career he had. Going back to 1946, in the 40s and the 30s and the 20s, Army and Navy were powers in college football.
Sure.
They were the Alabamas, the Notre Dames, and the all the Georgias and so forth and so on. Glenn Davis, 1946, was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Glenn Davis. I remember him.
And Doc Blanchard
Uh-huh.
was a Heisman Trophy winner in 1945, and both of those guys played in the same backfield
Wow.
at the time. And then in 1960, they had a running back by the name of Joe Bellino. Navy did.
I remember Joe Bellino.
Davis and Blanchard played for Army, of course, Staubach for Navy, and Bellino played for Navy. And I believe that 1960 Navy team went to the Orange Bowl. They went to the Orange Bowl, and I want to say they played Nebraska, but that's been I was only 10 years old. I remember watching the game on a black and white TV, and I remember Bellino. And then Pete Dawkins won the Heisman Trophy in 1958, and he played for Army. People that played in the game that went on to success in the military.
All right.
Dwight Eisenhower.
He went on to some
President of the
success,
United
yes.
States. He played halfback for Army. Eisenhower did. Omar Bradley played center for Army, and he was on the team that won the national championship in 1914.
Rose to the rank of general.
And this may be who you're thinking of, Napoleon McCallum.
Yes.
Napoleon McCallum. He was a running back in the 1980s, and he played in the NFL, and that's who you were trying to.
That's what I was trying to think
Yeah.
of.
Well, Army and Navy is set to tee it off today at, 3 o'clock?
I think
Yep.
so, yeah.
3 o'clock on CBS, so we look forward to seeing that. Guys, it's been fun.
It has.
Good to see everybody, and looks like they're having a great parade.
I saw the Christmas bunny go by
Yeah,
a little while
yeah.
ago.
I'm still waiting on Santa.
Tony hopped
Where's
out to
he
see
at?
family out there, huh? family doing good, Tony? All right. All right.
Good,
Donnie,
good,
we
good.
ready to blow that whistle?
We're ready.
Yep. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.